Hello. I wanted to talk a little bit about emotional intelligence today. I know I've brought this up a few times. So, what is emotional intelligence? Hopefully, a lot of you know what that is. They define it as the ability to identify and manage your emotions. You can identify them and name them, and to be able to recognize and name the emotions in others. There are several factors that have to do with emotional intelligence, but the one I want to talk about today is emotional intelligence in the workplace. And the thing that employers are finding out is that this is actually the most critical leadership skill that you can have. And it benefits you from the lowest level of the company, from an entry level position, all the way up to the CEO. And people get promoted, they have great jobs if they don't have emotional intelligence. But what is interesting is that you notice the difference, and they have, I would say, a little bit greater fan club or respect or results when their emotional intelligence is higher. So, what makes up emotional intelligence? What kind of skills? So, it's the ability to manage your own emotions. You can harness your emotions and to leverage them in the proper situation. You can do problem solving skills when you have that you can't do if you have lower emotional intelligence. And the one thing that's most noticeable is your ability to manage highly emotional situations outside of yourself. Okay, so if you've ever been around in a workplace with a lot of drama, or maybe at school, there's a lot of drama, or there's somebody who's talking behind people's backs, they're upset about something, and they go and they talk to this friend, and they go over there and they talk to this friend, or there's one person that you need to kind of tiptoe around, you don't want to make them mad. That's probably somebody who's not very high in their emotional intelligence. And everybody can learn this. The challenge in learning it is that we need to know that it exists. So for me, I'd never seen or been around anybody that had high emotional intelligence. And I didn't even if somebody had explained it to me, I wouldn't have understood it, because birds of a feather flock together, right? So we are all the same. I learned from my family, my kids learned from me, my spouse and I have the same level because we got together. If one person has a really high emotional intelligence, they're not necessarily going to be attracted, or the relationship is not going to be sustained if the other person can't close enough match, because it's going to feel so adolescent to you if your emotional intelligence is higher, and you have a more mature ability of dealing with things. So what employers are noticing, obviously, is that high EQ, or emotional intelligence, is a more critical factor to your success than your IQ or anything else. You can self-regulate. You can help other people regulate, co-regulation. And I've noticed it in my family, where specifically children, because they're so young, they pick it up first. And I can help them manage their emotions. So parents, we often have this is our job. But if the parents can't regulate themselves, then they can't teach their children to regulate. And so that's that kind of plays off of each other. So I notice it in my family first, then notice it with my spouse. I notice it with my friends. I can notice it at work. And so your elevated emotional intelligence, or EQ, will help elevate the EQ of others around you. I had a friend one time who said, "You tend to jump to the worst case scenario." I'm like, that's correct, actually. That's correct. I recognized it in myself, but I didn't have the words to explain it or understand it. So I noticed it. I had awareness of it, but I didn't have the ability to name it the way that he did. And that's really all I needed, was for him to say that and point it out and go. And I was like, okay, yeah, that's exactly the right words. I could manage that response in myself from that point on, because he named it and described it for me. And so that's one way that you can help lift up the intelligence, the emotional intelligence, and the emotional EQ of people around you. So do you have a friend that would say something like that to you? Are you a safe person for a friend to say that to? That's key, because I didn't react poorly. I agreed with him and I appreciated what he said. So how would you respond or react if somebody said something to you, pointed out something that you were doing that maybe isn't the best scenario for everybody involved? Would you accept it and react well? Can you be that person for somebody else? Those are all critical things to emotional intelligence. So, do you have somebody who can speak that into you? Are you safe enough to accept it? Are you safe enough for other people to share that with? And can you be that truth teller for somebody else? So I hope that helps explain a little bit and gives you some great insight. Have a wonderful day, and as always, go live your life of abundance.